I wanted to talk about the a couple of concepts I've brought up about law and order. The two concepts are the threshold multiplier effect and the devil's advocate effect. Virtual devil's advocate effect. So, threshold multiplier, virtual devil's advocate effect. Right. So a crime happens to you. Doesn't really matter what it is. Let's say it's burglary. You go to the police with it. They say, well, it's okay, but well, no point in us doing anything really because we don't have enough evidence. You say, well, why don't you investigate it so you can get evidence? That takes some time. Blah, blah. Okay. So you've gone to the police. Let's imagine that the police were to go forward with it. They'll go to CPS, and CPS will say, well, we'll have to take this to court, and it's tricky to get it through, so what evidence you got? It's not enough evidence, go back and investigate. Police will say you don't have resources. They would kick it back. Each time you go up the tree or up the level, it's like jumping up a waterfall for a salmon. It's a threshold multiplier. You've got, let's say, a CPS that says this has to be 65% likely to be proven. They say 50%, that's not true. They'd never go for a 50-50 case. This has to be 65% likely to get through the court and give us a successful prosecution, or we're not going to do it. So they'll kick it back if it doesn't reach, let's say, 65% likelihood in their estimation. The police will say, look, because we know a bit gets knocked off our cases, we're going to say 75% threshold. So the victim of crime that comes to them is going to be touched with a 75% threshold, and they're going to say, that's what we got. And then it's going to be the victim of crime who suffered the burglary or whatever, they're going to say, I need to be 85% certain. And that's where the virtual devil's advocate thing comes in. Because whichever party it is or the individual, they're saying to themselves, I need to be that much better than the threshold I'm going to meet next. And that's the threshold multiplier. And they say to themselves after a while, when victims of crime have to say, I've got to be better than 85% certain that this is going to go through. Because when it goes to the police, they're going to say 75% certain or knock it back. And when the police go to the CPS, they're going to say it's got to be at least 65% certain or we won't go forward, and they knock it back. So at the beginning, the person there needs to be about 85% certain. Now that is as close to dead cert. That's like having a signed confession and them on video walking from their house to the scene of the crime and back with the stuff. That's a lot of proof. The burden of proof's impossible, really. So that's a threshold multiplier, and the individual eventually and the parties start to say to themselves before they even go to the next party up the chain, up the waterfall of thresholds. So the individual victim of crime starts to say, well, I know that when I go to the police now, it's got to be 85% certain I am, because when it gets to them, they're going to say, if it's not, they're going to knock a bit off and then say it's got to be that certain. So you start to say to yourself, what's the point? If someone gets to the police, they're going to start to say to themselves, without going to the CPS, they're going to say, we know that this has to be at least 75% certain in our estimation, because when it goes up a level in the system, it's got to be at least 65% certain. And so right at the bottom of the food chain, as it were, in the legal system, you've got people saying to themselves, will this meet the criterion up ahead? And they just don't bother anymore. The CPS will say, oh, we're not going to take that to court. The police will say, we're not going to take that to CPS. And the individual victim of crime is going to say, I'm not going to report it. What is the point? This is not a dead cert with a signed confession and a video of the bugger coming to my house, stealing stuff, coming in, no mask or anything, no balaclava in, and going straight back out and all the way home with footprints in the snow. they're not going to bother even reporting it. And that's where we are. I bet you more than half crime isn't even reported. And I'm not talking about nothing, I'm talking about something worth reporting. I bet it's just not bothered with. Yeah, threshold multiplier and the virtual devil's advocate. That's it.